Hello, hello. Hopefully this is all working. I've got audio, I've got video. I would just like to talk about another stack of physical media today, go over some of the films. There's quite a eclectic collection here. Some foreign language films and some absolute American trash. So we got a nice mixed bag. So I'm going to dive straight in and talk about this Agnes Varda collection, which is from Curzon Artificial Eye. It's a Blu-ray set. Blu-ray set with 8 films on it. A couple of them are documentaries, special features, over 6 hours of special features, including interviews, featurettes, and short films. I haven't even touched any of them yet. I've had this about a week or so. It's got some of my favorite Agnes Varda films. She was a Belgian filmmaker, closely associated, obviously, with the French New Wave, if you know anything about that sort of period of film history. So I thought I would grab the box set. We haven't seen them all yet, as I said. I've watched Vagabond from 1985, which is really, really good film about this young woman that's just sort of living on the streets on her own. She's traveling cross country, and at the very start of the film, she's dead. She's lying in a gutter, dead, and the police are there and they're looking at the body because some farmers just found her out in the field. I think she's sort of like froze overnight, and then the rest of the film spent with her journey and people that she encountered along the way, and they're trying to sort of piece together her life and what happened to her. And it's a really, really powerful film, like meditation on lots of themes, really: solitude, independence, coming to terms with death, stuff like that. It sounds really heavy, but it's actually such a fantastic film. I advise it to anyone to see. And that's involved in here. That's one of the films in here. I watched that one first. Fantastic. I mean, you've got 2 different sets with the discs in, and obviously little bits about each film, and nice photography. Same with this side. And you got this really nice booklet, which they do with these kind of editions, where you've got loads of different articles and essays about each film written by different people. So there's loads and loads of information. Really good set. I think Criterion also do a Agnes Varda collection, which probably got some different films on that one. I haven't actually looked at it properly, but this one seemed like it was like quite a decent price. The transfers were overseen by Varda herself, so the picture on each movie looks really, really good. It's got Cleo from 5 to 7 is one of her really famous New Wave films. The Beaches of Agnes was the last one I watched, which is a documentary she did towards the end of her life, about her life in film, and what it was like when she was growing up. From Belgium, they moved to France. Her father was like of Greek background, so hence like the Varda. Varda is a Greek name, I think. So there was a connection to Greece there as well. But she's just one of the greatest filmmakers of all time, and I think anyone who's like serious about cinema or film should check her out and check these movies out. I mean, it's foreign language stuff, or so-called foreign language stuff. It's in a lot of it will be in French, but that shouldn't stop you, But really great box set. All Blu-rays, really nice copies. Like I said, loads of information in there. Another one of the films on here is Jacques Denon, which is about her husband, Jacques Demy, who was also a famous French filmmaker from around that time, the 60s, 70s. One of his most famous films is the next one in the pile, which is Les Demoiselles de Rochefort, or The Young Ladies of Rochefort. This is a really nice BFI edition, just DVD this one, but fantastic picture. double disc set because there's loads of special features. This stars Catherine Deneuve and her sister Francois Doliac, who unfortunately died when she was very young. Not long after this film, she died in a car crash. Catherine Deneuve kept on acting like legend of French cinema, still alive now, I think. Gene Kelly's in this one of the greatest dancers. It is a musical. Dave and I did a podcast about this film. I've linked that in the description. So if you want to know more about this movie, you can sort of get an introduction to it from us if you want on our podcast. We really enjoyed it. It was great fun. If you're at all like musicals, which I'm not a massive musicals fan, but I found this one really interesting, especially, it's in French. It's very different. It's got that French style to it. Jacques Demy, fantastic filmmaker. Agnes Varda is actually in the film somewhere. She's like got a cameo. I think we mentioned that in the podcast. So, hey, Cinema Cities, thank you for joining us. Yeah, I knew you'd be a massive Varda fan, of course. Have you got a favorite Varda film? Let us know. But yeah, I mean, she's just one of the greatest. I only really got into her stuff in the last 4 or 5 years, really, and I'm really glad I did. I think she's just one of the best. This is a really nice edition as well. It's BFI, so you got a nice booklet with it, which has got some really good articles and beautiful photographs. That photograph of Gene Kelly on set playing the piano is just superb. I love all this sort of extra stuff you get with these editions. So this is really nice. It's a really nice little set, this one of the treasures, but totally advise seeing that if you haven't. Cleo from 5 to 7, absolutely. That's a second film on this box set. That's probably one of her most famous films, isn't it? Absolutely brilliant. A masterpiece, absolute masterpiece. I'm not sure if you've seen Vagabond or not. You probably have. You've seen so many films, but if you haven't, 1985 Vagabond, fantastic film. Really, really love it. Another set of French films here. I've got the Three Colors trilogy. These were directed by Krzysztof Kieślowski, who was actually Polish, but towards the end of his life, his last sort of run of films were all funded in France by French producers, so therefore they're kind of French films, really. But they were also his most successful films, probably most famously this collection. I love these films, especially the first one, Bleu, with Juliette Binoche. Again, this is Artificial Eye. They do a lot of good stuff. They're really cool. But this is, again, like a fold out. So you've got all the movies and you've got like a disc of bonus features, which I haven't actually checked out. Oh, no, it's not. It's another film. I'm so. See, that's how ignorant I am as to what is in these things. But I'm going to have to watch that now, aren't I? Damn. But yeah, Three Colors Blue with Juliette Binoche. I mean, you can watch each of these films as a individual film, and you don't need to have watched the others to know what's going on. It's like they're loosely connected. I think the characters appear in the background of each film, so that to denote the timeline is the same. But I don't think that you have to. They're not connected in any other way. Thematically, they're supposed to represent, I suppose, what is it? The French motto, the liberty, equality, and fraternity. But that's kind of like ironic as well, I think, and I think it was like Roger Ebert, I was reading on Wikipedia, said there's like an anti-tragedy, an anti-comedy, an anti-romantic drama, which is pretty accurate. But they're all brilliant. The second one is hilarious. It's got Julie Delpy as well from many, many great films, Before Sunrise, etc. But yeah, favorite films. I actually lent these to my dad and sort of pressed them on him and said, you got to watch these films. And then I didn't get it back for ages. That's how much he loved them. But I was happy for him to have them because he really enjoyed those. But yeah, that's, where would we be without the French? They, invented cinema, and well, Polish too, of course. But fantastic films. I really like the artificial eye stuff. They've been going for years, and I think even back to videotapes, they were doing a lot of cool stuff. They were always the company back in the old days where if you wanted to watch great foreign cinema or foreign films, they had them all. So I really like them still, and I got quite a few different films from Artificial Eye. Okay, so getting back to something a bit more British now. I've got Sexy Beast here, Ray Winstone and Ben Kingsley, of course. Ian McShane, I forgot he was in it. This is a Film 4 video. So to anyone watching, Channel 4 is like was one of the main terrestrial channels in the UK, and they were always very supportive of film. A lot of the films I watched when I was young, I watched through watching Channel 4, because they'd have all sorts of things like Scorsese's films, Goodfellas on a Sunday night, they put it on, and that was my access to those films in those days. So Channel 4 and Film 4 have done some marvelous stuff over the years. But let's go just like a basic pull out. There's Ray in his bronze tan with his little Speedo on. Hilarious. Ben Kingsley in this film, though, if you haven't seen it, it's almost like competing with Joe Pesci in Goodfellas for that sort of savage kind of gangster that you would just never want to bump into in your whole life. And considering it's Ben Kingsley as well, he's a Sir Ben Kingsley, he's kind of a posh guy, but in this he's playing this sort of wily East End hard man, and it is so scary, but what a performance. Absolutely fantastic performance. So highly recommended to anyone who hasn't seen it. The title is kind of misleading, Sexy Beast. It makes it almost sound like some sort of smutty blue movie, but it's not. It's about this guy who's an ex-gangster, and he's sort of retired early and gone out to Spain with his wife and his friends, and they just have a chill life over there, hanging out by the pool. And then Don Logan, played by Ben Kingsley, comes back and tries to sort of pull him into this job, and won't take no for an answer, famously. And it's just so intense, but it's unforgettable. You've never seen Sexy Beast, please at some point put it on Cinema Cities, because it is yeah, you might have seen clips from it, with Ben Kingsley and stuff, but it's just for his performance, it's just crazy. It's intense, but it's also quite funny, because he's like a sort of poison dwarf character. He's only little and diminutive guy, like Joe Pesci in Goodfellas, but he's got so much attitude and so much aggression and command that everybody's just on eggshells around him and scared of him. And how he pulled that performance off, I don't know, but Jonathan Glazer as well, great director. That's one of his best films, and highly recommended. Love it. So cool. This one's a bit of fun. Drop Dead Fred. Not sure how well this did over in the States. Over here, it was quite popular. It was an American film. It had Phoebe Cates in it. It was like 1991, I think, and she was quite a big star at the time. It's got Tim Matheson in. Carrie Fisher is in there as her friend. It's great to see Carrie Fisher in this kind of role. Good supporting role. Very funny in it. But yeah, Rick Mayall, the main man himself, so funny. Why he didn't do more movies, I don't know. Maybe he was just too balmy and crackers to get on with the Hollywood types. But in this film, to anyone who has seen it, which I'm sure a lot of people have seen this, but he's just brilliant, so funny. It just sort of encapsulates his kind of raucous sort of humor, which is, let's all just laugh at ourselves and be disgusting. But brilliant. I love it, and highly recommend Drop Dead Fred. This is just a bog standard DVD edition. I think the disc's in a bad shape, so might have to replace this at some point if there's a Blu-ray edition out now. But if you want a good laugh, bit of something different. For those that don't know anything about it, it's Phoebe Cates' character is had a childhood imaginary friend, and she goes through a sort of stress in her life in her sort of mid-20s, and he comes back, he's dropped dead Fred, and he just causes chaos in her life. And, it's just a good laugh. It's a good bit of fun. So, yeah, got to check that out. This one of my favorite all-time films, Raising Arizona, Nicolas Cage. First Nicolas Cage film I ever saw. Definitely the first Coen Brothers film I ever saw. Probably, again, Channel 4, or if not, it would be BBC 2, would have played this at some point when I was young, and I just happened to catch it. And it's so funny, and it's so brilliant. Probably taped it off the TV at the time and kept the copy and watched it a million times, because it's one of those films that's really quotable, and I probably learned half the dialogue. But yeah, Nicolas Cage, and his wife in it is played by Holly Hunter, who's like she's a cop and he's a criminal, so it's like a match made in heaven in that way. And they can't have children, so they steal one of these set of quintuplets or whatever. There's like some famous couple that have had like 7 kids, and they think that's too many for one couple. We'll steal one, and they kidnap this kid. It sounds a bit savage now, but it's all hilarious and funny. And you've got people like John Goodman in it, who sort of crops up. He's like a former cellmate with Nicolas Cage, and Randall Tex Carver's the bad guy as well. Really, really funny film. Brilliant soundtrack. Real sort of like madcap, cartoonish kind of humor. Sam Raimi might have helped him out on this one a little bit. I know he did on the debut feature, and they helped him out too with like the Evil Dead stuff or the early stuff. But yeah, one of my favorite ever films. This is, again, just a bog standard DVD copy. Not many extra features or anything. Oh, we got interactive menus. Where they always put that, that's when you know they haven't got many special features, when it says interactive menus, because haven't they all got interactive menus? Isn't that the point, guys? But yeah, theatrical trailer. Okay, great. But that's it, pretty much. Scene access, special features, scene access. Come on, do better. But what a film. You don't need special features when a film's this good. Hilarious. Nicolas Cage, that was for me. Lifelong fan after this movie, no matter what. Always loved him, and I thought he was really well suited to starring in something like this. Just absolutely crazy. Good caper, good fun. Next up, we've got The Proposition, which I believe is a Australian film. Again, this one's got Ray Winston in as well. But Guy Pearce and Danny Huston there on the cover. It is a Western. It's sort of based in that sort of era, but it takes place in Australia, so it's a bit different like that. You've got a screenplay by Nick Cave, the musician, who's sort of, had quite a successful foray into films, whether it be writing music for films or writing the screenplay for films. I know he did the music for Assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford, which is a great film, great music in that. But this is a really, really interesting Western. If you like Westerns, this is good. This is like different because, like I say, it's Australian, so it's got a little tinge of Ned Kelly and stuff like that to it. Ray Winston plays this British sort of copper that's gone over there, and he's just a bit of a bastard, really. And so he's got a good role in it. Danny Huston is just like a savage. He's like the older brother, I think, to Guy Pearce's character, and they're at odds as well. So it's like brothers warring. But I highly recommend this to anyone who hasn't seen it and likes that kind of film. It's a good watch, and it's always nice to sort of remember that Australian cinema is a really great thing. That was another country whose films I'd grown up watching, Australian films. Things like Malcolm, which is a great comedy caper movie, and Chopper, stuff like that. Australian cinema is for real, and this is a good Western. something different. Recommend it. I recommend all these films, of course. This is very silly. If you ever want something where you just want to put something on and just have a right laugh, Revenge of the Ninja never fails. I once watched this with my friend Tim, and he was just sort of recovering from, he'd had a clot in his lung. He'd been quite ill. He wasn't very well, so I was going around sort of, bolster his spirits, see how he was, spend some time with him. And we'll put this film on, and he was laughing so much. He was like, God, just turn it off. You're going to have to turn it off. Because he was worried that he was going to, his lungs were going to explode. But if you're going to go, that's the way to go. Laughing at Revenge of the Ninja. That's what I said to him. But he was fine. He was tough. He got through it. But who did we laugh? Because it's just like so ridiculous. You can't believe it. Even for, that level of movie. It goes beyond. It's hilarious. Anyone who's into those kind of films or these kind of films will know it's part of a unofficial trilogy. Got Enter the Ninja, Revenge of the Ninja, and Ninja 3 Domination, something stupid like that, I don't know. But they've all got Shokasugi in, the main master. Golden Globus films as well. I prefer Enter the Ninja as a film. Actually did a review for that. That's on our website somewhere. But this one's just funny. It's just hilarious. Very silly. I even showed it to my other half, and she was just like, would never want to watch a film like that. But luckily managed to persuade her to watch it one night. She was laughing her ass off as well. So tried and tested. You want a good laugh, put that on. You got to see it. You've got to see it. It's one of those to cheer you up. You need something. You're having a shit time. You had a shit week, and it's like your eyes will pop out your head. You just go, "What is going on?" But yeah, funny. Getting to the bottom of the stack now, guys. But a couple more to go. The Prestige. I noticed that a lot of people who follow Christopher Nolan had not seen this one yet, and I think this is one of his strongest films. I really loved it. It's about two sort of magicians or tricksters, con artists, so to speak, played by Hugh Jackman and Christian Bale. And they are at odds. And they kind of, I don't know, how would you describe it? They have a magic off. But it keeps you guessing this one. You don't know what's going to happen. Hey, Michelle, how you doing? Good to see you too. Just talking about The Prestige, of course. Have you guys seen this one? Have either of you seen this? I mean, when we were talking about Nolan the other week because of Oppenheimer, of course, and seemed to be a lot of people had missed this one. But, I mean, I missed it. I didn't watch it as soon as it came out. It was a few years afterwards. But one night we were watching it, and there you go. It was my first Nolan film. Cinema Says is on it. I think Memento was the first one of his I've seen, which is one of his first big releases. But I missed this one. I sort of skipped a few, and then we watched this about 12 years ago one night, and it was snowing, and it was dark in the winter, and me and Kath were watching it, and there's a scene in it with David Bowie plays Tesla. And he's got a black cat. There's a black cat walking across. It's all quite spooky. It's a little bit sort of, ooh, is magic real or is it science? There's this kind of element to it. And anyway, we're watching it on this dark night. And then all of a sudden I looked to the left and this black cat had come out of the cold, jumped up into our window, which was open. We probably had the heating on too high. And it had popped its head around the curtains. And we both sat there. It was like, this black cat's in the room. And we just watched this film. So we were both a bit like, whoa. We love cats, though, so it was like, almost trying to coax it in and become our cat. We love cats, but didn't stay. But that was a spooky thing, just this random black cat come out of nowhere the night we watched that. Kind of went with the whole atmosphere of it, but I love this. Yeah, Michelle, you've got to see it. You'd enjoy it, I think. Especially Michael Caine's in it as well. So always good to see Michael Caine turn up, in my opinion. Scarlett Johansson, another bankable star, dependable, good actor. But yeah, Prestige, that'll keep you guessing. That'll have you on the edge of your seat, that will. And if you leave your window open, you might get visited by a mysterious black cat. Finally, the Color of Pomegranates. I'm just going to read this. It's also got such beautiful production design. He does a wonderful job of recreating that time period. He does. I mean, he's great at world building. I always thought that about him. And this is faultless. In, that sort of Victorian, vaudevillian sort of, back alley magic show that's just, almost like Houdini or something. They're in danger of getting killed if they can't escape from their own traps and all sorts. And yeah, he does. It's brilliant. You're absolutely right. It's brilliant world building and great music as well. So, I think that, oh yeah, there you go. It's written by him and his brother, Jonathan Nolan. So they did work on the Dark Knight stuff together, and it seems to be pretty cool. Yeah, Michelle, give it a watch. That's definitely, you're not going to be disappointed. I can say that with confidence that I think, you will enjoy that. So anyway, on to the last one, which again is a bit more of an art house film, The Color of Pomegranates. It's not like a massively long film. So it's probably about an hour, something like that. Was it say 70 minutes? So just over an hour. But this is definitely a sort of film school kind of art house film. But on Twitter and stuff like that, when you're looking through all the other film profiles, you will see images from this pop up. That's how I first found out about it, and I found the imagery was so arresting. I was like, "What is that film? That looks amazing." I was drawn to these films, and are a little bit different. And this one it's kind of historical, but it's poetical. It's based on this poet that from the 18th century, and it's kind of a retelling of his life in several chapters. But it's done very theatrically as well, with single camera, static setup in certain scenes, and you'll just have weird things happen. It's got that weird tinge to it, but in a very beautiful sort of mysterious way. This kind of like exotic, because it's a Soviet film, but it's about, I think, Azerbaijani poet. So, Armenian poet, Sayat Nova, the King of Songs. I mean, just that King of Songs makes me think, whoa, what's that? That sounds cool. But very interesting sort of film, especially if you're studying film or you're into writing about cinema that is outside of our Western hemisphere. This is definitely one to check out and look into. It was one of them. I watched it and I was like, I'm going to watch that again straight away. One, because it was only quite short, and two, because I was so sort of mesmerized by a lot of it. I had to go back and watch it again just to glean everything out of it. But highly recommend The Color of Pomegranates. Sound design on this as well is fantastic. Something very unique in film, and I love it. And that's it, really. That is my stack. That's today's stack. I'm so happy to have my friends join me today with Michelle and Cinema Cities. I was really grateful that you turned up and have commented, because it's made this whole sort of live stream experience a little bit more interesting and something to respond to, not just me talking over myself, not me talking over Dave for once. Poor Dave, God bless him. But thanks for joining me. And as I said, I've put our top 5 Agnes Varda article in the description. I've got a top 5 Coen brothers, of which Raising Arizona is one of them. That's in the description as well, as an introduction to the Coen brothers films, as well as our podcast of The Young Girls of Rochefort, which is fantastic. I still haven't seen Umbrellas of Cherbourg, but I have got it somewhere lined up, ready to see soon. So let me know if you're watching this afterwards, if you've seen any of these films, or if you have any questions about any of them, or opinions about any of this stuff. let me know. It's always great to hear from people, even after the fact. But yeah, that's about all for this video. Thanks very much for watching. Be sure to subscribe to the channel and give us a like. It really helps us to build the channel up. Michelle says, thanks for sharing. I'm always looking for something new to watch. You're going to love The Prestige. I know it. Let me know as well afterwards what you thought. But yeah, thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you again on another More Movies video. We've just released our podcast. Our latest episode is about Barbenheimer, so we're talking about Barbie and Oppenheimer. So check that out if you haven't had a chance yet. And that's it for now. Keep watching more movies. Thanks very much.